Red spring training is now on, and the expectations for this coming season are now on a different level. You know the star power in Cincinnati. Ellie De La Cruz, Hunter Green, Matt McLean makes his return this year. So many young stars, several new players, but the headliner, of course, will be the Reds' new manager. Terry Francona comes to Cincinnati with a Hall of Fame resume and a chance to help this young roster start to take a next step. An exciting season is on deck, and one of the most talked about games will be the Speedway Classic at Bristol Motor Speedway when it's Ellie against Ronald Acuna at a NASCAR track in Tennessee. On this episode, we talk with the Reds Hall of Famer Sean Casey about the Speedway Classic and what to expect from Terry Francona, a manager he played for in Boston in his final year in the major leagues. Joining the show tonight is, well, he needs no introduction. He's one of the all-time great Cincinnati Reds. Everybody here in town knows Sean Casey as the mayor. He's now the host of the Mayor's Office podcast, MLB Network analyst, and joining us today to talk about the Reds and also talk about this awesome event that's going to be happening next summer for the Cincinnati Reds. And Sean Casey, let's start there. You've played baseball a long time, played in a lot of different venues. How unique do you think it will be for baseball players to play a baseball game at a NASCAR track in Bristol, Tennessee?
Oh, man. Well, first off, Joe, it's great to see you, man. And I think it's going to be incredible. I really do. I think the experience for the fan playing at Bristol Motor Speedway, for the Reds fans, the Braves fans, or any Major League Baseball fan that comes there, it's going to be so unique. And I know for me, I was fortunate, Joe, my last year in the big leagues, I was with the Red Sox in 2008. And we opened up, we played an exhibition game before the season started with the Dodgers at the LA Coliseum. And they made this makeshift, field on there. And we had 120,000 people. But it was an incredible experience. I mean, for me, looking back at my career, one of the coolest experiences was that. So I think for the players, not only the fans, but the players that are going to be in this game to play at Bristol Motor Speedway and to have the opportunity to see the game from a different vantage point, a different venue, and someplace that's, so iconic like Bristol Motor Speedway is going to be just an incredible thing.
So the players do feel it when it's a unique experience, unique venue like this. You do feel that experience.
Yeah, it's fun for the players. I think and especially this is going to be in August 2nd. So coming down the stretch, I really believe both of these teams will be in the playoff hunt too. And I think this game's going to mean a lot. And it's anything you can get as a player sometimes to spice it up, to mix it up, to give me a different look. And that's what it's going to do for these guys.
Okay, so when this announcement was made, Sean, I saw renderings, I saw flyover animations of what it's going to look like. Have you seen what it's going to look like when the Reds and Braves do play there, the configurations, and what was your reaction when you did see it?
Yeah, I have seen it. I just think it looks so cool. I mean, just the backdrop of the mountains and everything at Bristol Motor Speedway, how beautiful it is there in Tennessee, and I just think the way they're going to situate the field is incredible, because what it shows is how big that Bristol Motor Speedway really is, and how much how much room they have to work to put this field in is going to be really, really cool.
The idea that it's a Coliseum, and I didn't know you played in the other Coliseum in LA. The fact that it's a Coliseum and it has the reputation of being like the last great racing Coliseum in the country. Does that add to the excitement, the fact that it's such a cool, unique venue and it has its own life force and energy that the players are going to feel?
Joe, there's no doubt about it, man. That Coliseum feel, you feel like you're going back to Roman times. You feel like you're like, wow, look at all these people that are situated around us. Look how far down Bristol Motor Speedway goes. The fans that'll be right on top of these guys. I just think, that Coliseum feel is so unique. It's so unique. It's not, it's not like you're playing at a football stadium or anything like that. The Coliseum field of Bristol Motor Speedway will be so unique for everybody.
All right, we know how involved you were with the community when you were a baseball player here in Cincinnati. I don't know if you know this, Sean, that with tickets going on sale, proceeds from every ticket are going to help with hurricane disaster relief. The platform you have, the difference that baseball players and baseball as a whole can make, we're going to see it on display here with this game.
Well, I think that's the wonderful part of this game, Joe, is that, Major League Baseball is giving back to some of the relief efforts from these, incredible storms that we've seen here, in the last few months. And I think there's still a lot of people in need. I was just down in Asheville, North Carolina about a month ago, and I could not believe the devastation. Really could not believe it. Sometimes in life, the news hits down there for a week and this devastation, then they move on. But the people that have been affected are still trying to rebuild. So the fact that your Major League Baseball is creating these funds to give back to the people in these areas that have been affected most by these natural disasters is really great. And I must say, Joe, much, much needed.
Okay, so are you going? And I don't know if the plan is yet that far out in advance, but we have to have you at this game, Sean.
Yeah, I gotta be there. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I'm coming. I'm pretty sure I'm coming with Major League Baseball, but if not, you'll see me. I'll just be like, Joe, what's up? I'm in street clothes and I'm not missing this one. So you will see me at Bristol Motor Speedway August 2nd to watch the Reds versus the Braves one way or another, brother.
Okay, so how excited are you now for the Cincinnati Reds and the addition of Terry Francona? Look, everybody here in Cincinnati knows about the roster, the young stars that are coming up. Now you add a guy that has World Series championship experience thrown into the mix of this young team. As a guy who played here in Cincinnati, how excited are you for this organization?
Well, to tell you the truth, on my podcast recently, I had Tito on a few weeks ago on the Mayor's Office podcast, which was incredible to really hear it from him firsthand how excited he is. He can't believe he's back managing. I mean, he didn't think he thought he was going to be golfing for the rest of his life, and here he is, a couple years out, a year out. All of a sudden, he's back with the Reds, a team he has history with. I think that's a big thing. I was fortunate enough to play with Tito. Played for Tito in 2008 with the Red Sox. In that game in the Coliseum, he was my manager. And this guy is one of one. He's one of one. I don't think maybe we all understand as Cincinnati Reds fans or even those players of what Tito is going to bring to that organization. I mean, this guy is a guy that is a leader of men, leads from the front, has been a player, he's been a manager, he's won championships, especially out there in Boston, what he did in 04 and 07. But the way he commands that clubhouse, you feel like he's kind of your friend, but you also feel like he's your dad. So you're like, there's a little bit of healthy fear, Joe, but also he makes you feel like you're the most important guy on the team. And I think that's what Tito does, why he's had so much success in Boston and Cleveland and the places that he's been. And then when you talk about the team that, I think you're going to see Elly De La Cruz go to another level. I think his game's going to go to another level being around Tito. I think, all those guys, Matt McClain coming back is going to be huge for that lineup. Spencer Steer and Encarnacio Strand being healthy. That rotation that he's going to have with, led by Hunter Green, but also that bullpen. I mean, Terry Francona is not coming back to baseball if he doesn't think he can win now. I think that's the biggest thing for Reds fans is that he's coming back because he looks at this roster and he goes, oh, no, we can win now. If anything, these guys are underperforming, and I think it's just going to be a really, really exciting year for the Cincinnati Reds fan base and for all of us.
It was funny, Sean, when he came here and they had the introductory press conference, I asked him point blank. I was standing right in front of him. I said, can you win a World Series championship here? You should have seen the look he gave me. It went viral in Cincinnati. But that's kind of the reaction I wanted from him was, look, he's a guy that has won World Series championships. And so I wanted to know that what you said, he wouldn't be coming back here unless he thought he had a chance. And the one word that he mentioned multiple times was the word accountability and how important that was to him in a clubhouse and how he is comfortable having those conversations. Is that part of his persona as well? That look, throughout a baseball season, guys are going to make mistakes. Guys are going to have those conversations with their manager. Is that part of one of his strengths as a manager is holding guys accountable for their performance?
No doubt about it. I mean, first off, Joe, he's here to win. That's the bottom line. I remember having a meeting in 2008, the meeting before the season started, or the first day at spring training. He had everybody together, and he said, hey, listen, our goal is to win the World Series. That's it. And that's what he's going to tell these guys in Cincinnati. I promise you, first day will be, let's not get to the postseason. No, we're here to win a World Series, period. That's the bottom line. I think the biggest thing with Tito, that's a big part of who he is, accountability. And he will be the first guy there every day. You will be as prepared. The Reds will be as prepared as any team in the big leagues as far as what the bullpen looks like, their roles, what the guys in that lineup and their roles, and the matchups they need in the rotation. So I think the accountability mirror, I mean, Terry Francona will make sure everybody has the accountability mirror. They can look at themselves in the mirror and say, are you doing everything you can every single night to be the best version of yourself so that the Cincinnati Reds can win a championship?
A couple more here, Sean, and I know you got to go. So I want to ask you, the Reds made the big move with Jonathan India traded for Brady Singer. You look at this roster, and you mentioned all the stars that are coming up, the young stars here in Cincinnati. What's the final couple of pieces do you think that this team needs to add to get themselves to the playoffs and maybe be a contender?
Well, I think the Brady Singer trade is a great trade. I mean, Jonathan India had a great year last year. That'll be a great deal for the Royals, too, having him in that lineup. But Brady Singer, for me, is one of the better young pitchers in the game, only getting better. You know, if you watch his numbers and the stuff that he has, you know, he's only progressing to be, you know, one of the better pitchers in the game. So to put him in that rotation, I think the biggest thing with the Reds is, can they stay healthy in the rotation? That's the biggest thing. Health for the Reds. I really think they have the pieces, Joe. When I look at that team, I'm like, they have the pieces. They have the star, in Hunter Green at the top of that rotation, and all the way down they have so many. And then they add Brady Singer into that rotation. You got a frontline rotation now. You know, the bullpen's been pretty good. Nick Martinez coming back too, and you could swing him whatever role you want for him. Diaz at the back end. You know, I think if that lineup can stay healthy, if Encarnacio Strand can stay in the lineup, if Spencer Steer can stay healthy, if Friedel can stay healthy, if Matt McClain can have the year he had a couple years ago, if Ellie De La Cruz can go to that another level, they have everything they need right now. They don't need to go anywhere else. Now, do you want more bullpen arms? Of course, everybody does, because the way the bullpens are used nowadays is so different in the game. But so I'm sure Tito would love one or two more arms in that pen. But you know, rotation depth is such a big deal, and just health for the 2025 Cincinnati Reds will mean whether they win the whole thing or they don't.
Okay, Sean, we have 2 minutes left, and I want to ask you one question here about Pete Rose. You and I have been in many rooms when the Reds had these callback weekends, and all the former stars are back there, and we saw it every time. It was Pete, it was Johnny, who were the biggest personalities in the room. What's your favorite Pete Rose story? Because I know you've spent a lot of time around him. You've been in those moments of stories being shared. Do you have a favorite Pete story?
So many great Pete stories. I remember being at the, just tell a general story. Pete came in, Pearl Jam opened up, I believe, in 2014 or 15 in Cincinnati, and I've become friends with Ed Vedder over the years, and he was coming in, and I was like, man, it'd be incredible to get Pete out here to meet up with Ed and have a couple, have just dinner there. And we were at the Green Diamond Gallery, which was Bob Crotty's place. I'm sure you've been there, Joe. What an unbelievable place. I'm still mad at Crotty that he ended up shutting that down, which was, a mainstay. So we went to the Green Diamond Gallery. It was me, Pete, Bronson Arroyo, and a couple other guys, and Ed Vedder. And, man, we just went off and really gave Pete the mic. And Pete just was telling us stories about going toe-to-toe against Roberto Clemente and the great matchups of the Pirates and the Reds back in the 70s, and growing up in Cincinnati and playing the game the way he played it. And, Pete was not short of any Pete stories. So it was just – I just will never forget that night, Joe. It was just such an incredible, incredible night of really Pete having the open mic and going.
The great Sean Casey, everybody. Get Sean to Bristol next August, Reds and Braves. And it's a great game, too. It's not just a great venue. I mean, you're talking about two of the best teams in the National League here.
Dude, well, Ronald Acuna and De La Cruz, just those two, the two of the best speed combination guys, athlete guys in the big leagues, just those together should sell this thing out.
We should get you in a car.
Come on, I'll do it, Joe. I'll do it. Make the connection for me.
Sean, thanks.
Thanks, brother. Great seeing you, man.
At 1,950 career managing wins, Francona will become only the 13th manager in MLB history with 2,000 wins when the Reds win their 50th game this coming season. All those wins and the 2 World Series titles. It's why expectations are so high this season in Cincinnati.